Welcome into ESPN's MMA Live Extra. My name is Todd Grisham. We've got a very special edition for you right now. We're going to look back at the top 5 fights so far of 2013. We're in summer, so we're going to look back at spring and late winter. Why don't we do it? The top 5 fights brought to you by our writers on ESPN.com, and one of them joins us now, MMA writer Brett Okamoto from the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Brett, how's Sin City treating you?
It's treating me very fine, Todd.
Well, thank you, Brett. Let's start with number 5. What was the 5th best fight of 2013?
Number 5, top fight, Mark Hunt versus Stefan Struve. This is a heavyweight fight, and stylistically, we probably knew that this was going to be a pretty good fight going in. Both of these guys, they don't mind to get hit. They're offensively minded. They'll take a couple shots to land one of their own, and that typically leads to a pretty awesome fight. Stefan Struve was fighting on the outside. Mark Hunt was looking to make up for that ridiculously long reach advantage of Stefan Struve by throwing those left hooks, and then we had the walk-off home run hit by Mark Hunt. It was a pretty great way to finish what was a great fight.
In fact, it broke Stefan Struve's jaw. He posted that picture of his x-ray on Twitter. I love that picture. All right, number 4, best fight of 2013 so far.
Coming in at number 4 is Kat Zingano versus Miesha Tate, and I think there were 2 things going on here primarily. The first off is just Miesha Tate. She's going to give you an entertaining fight. That's just how she is. It's part of her strategy to win is to just pressure her opponent and just be relentless in her face, looking to take you down, landing punches, and that's what she was doing against Kat Zingano. And I think Zingano, the moment got to her a little bit. It was her first fight in the UFC, obviously, a very big moment in her career. She was crying on her way to the cage, and she just looked a little stiff in the first 2 rounds. But in the third, we got to see how dynamic she can be. She finished the fight, and that's why a lot of people are excited to see her take on Ronda Rousey sometime in the future. It was a terrific fight.
All right, number 3 now, and it involves Wanderlei Silva. What a shock. He's been part of some great fights.
Yeah, Wanderlei Silva overseas, and that's another place where he's done a lot of his damage is over there in Japan. And I think what happened in this fight is Brian Stann it was a miscalculation on Stann's part. I think that he underestimated how much gas Wanderlei Silva still has in the tank. I mean, coming into this fight, I thought that Brian Stann would maybe stick and move, play a points game, look to finish the fight late. But in Stann's mind, he probably went in saying, if I get into a fight with Wanderlei Silva, I've got the better chin, so I should be in good shape. And he went in the firefight, and it was Wanderlei who was the last one standing. So I think it was a bit of a mistake on Brian Stann's part, but it led to a good fight.
When you think about one-punch knockout artists in mixed martial arts, you think about Roy Nelson, you think about Dan Henderson, and you should think about Johnny Hendricks as well, but he didn't get a knockout in our second best fight of the year.
Yeah, Johnny Hendricks versus Carlos Condit, this was just an insane fight. And I think what you have to remember about this one is we had an angry Johnny Hendricks. You know, this was the same card up there in Montreal that George St. Pierre fought Nick Diaz on, and that made Johnny very angry because he believed that title shot should have been his. So he went out in the co-main event of that night looking to make a statement, and it was a very aggressive, very moving forward and wanting to make a statement Johnny Hendricks that we saw. But Carlos Condit, he's been in those types of fights before. He's durable. He landed some shots of his own. The pace on this fight was just incredible for 15 minutes. At the end of the day, Hendricks got the win, but he really had to earn it, and it was fun to watch.
All right, now for our number 1 fight of the year, and just to prove this isn't a popularity contest, the 2 guys that are in this fight, a lot of people have never heard of. In fact, it wasn't even on a main card, was it, Brett?
No, it wasn't, and I would say that it stole the show, but ultimately it didn't because it happened on that Ronda Rousey card, and she was definitely the star of that, the first time a female went into the UFC octagon. But Dennis Bermudez and Matt Grice did their best to steal the show at UFC 157, and it's kind of fitting that it happened so close to the Los Angeles area because this felt like a Hollywood fight. You know, it felt like Indiana Jones facing a big Soviet Union guy, you know, where they could just pound on each other for 15 minutes, but it seemed like neither of them were hurt. They just kept going. It just didn't seem like it was possible for 2 guys to take so much damage as they did, but still finish a fight at a very high pace. And that was maybe the most impressive part to me, was that these 2 still had enough gas in the tank to be going hard as the fight ended over a brutal stretch of 3 rounds. So this one's going to be tough to topple. We might be talking about this one in December as the absolute best fight of the entire year.
Well, the best fight, at least so far, of 2013, Bermudez over Grice at UFC 157. Brett, thanks for your time. If you haven't had a chance to check out our knockouts of the year and submissions of the year so far in 2013, please feel free to do so now. That'll do it for this edition of MMA Live Extra. I'm Todd Grisham. Keep fighting.